And welcome to another Care Collab. So today we are talking about Cymbidium General Care, and this here that you see in front of you is my Cymbidium California Dreamin'. Let's see if I can get it to kind of focus. There we go. And I got this back in August of 2020, and for the first few months, I guess for the first year, she lived inside because she was a seedling. Oh, before we get into that, let me let you know the participating channels. Sorry. I'm going to let you know who they are. If I can get my editing software to work, I'll list them on the screen. Otherwise, they will be in the description below along with a link to their video. But participants are going to be Todd's Tropicals, The Orchid Saga, Petals, Sepals, and Spines, Ed's Orchids, Lynn Brooks, Yin's Orchids and ADD, Fernanda Nascimado's Orchids and Succulents, and of course the Queen Ninja Orchids, Miss Nina. So, like I was saying, for the first year she stayed in the home, and for those of you who have arthritis and deal with that, I'm not going to be picking her up too much because my hands aren't working too well. So I did put her in this decorative pot to help hold the clay pot that she is potted in, just to help me because it does have some grooves on it to help me with the gripping. But when I got her, so if I drop her, y'all can laugh, but when I got her, she had this bulb right here that is starting to lose a leaf, and this bulb right here was starting to grow. So last growing season, I set her outside on my porch where the maximum temperature was, I think it got as high as a little over 100 last year, 102, 103. And I brought her in October of 2021 because she is still new. She was sold to me as near blooming size, so I didn't want to winter her outside this year. But next year I am going to winter her because they do need a really good temperature drop in order to encourage some blooms. So I'm hoping to see blooms next year. But while she was outside, let's see if I can do this without dropping, she developed these two growths right here that are continuing to grow. So like I said, I brought her in October of 2021 into the home, and she has been sitting in front of an east-facing window. Ambient temperature inside my home is between 72 and 75. I do grow in my living room in Colorado. So she does get really bright light in the morning, and of course she gets the nice afternoon light, and it's fairly bright throughout the day. There's also a supplemental grow light in the area. Now, my humidity is not that high in my home. Right now, it is reading, here, let's see, let's just pull it over. Right now, it is reading 31 degrees in the area that she sits, with 71 degrees Fahrenheit. She is potted in a plethora of things. There is potting soil, there's bark chips, she has some rocks, I think there's some moss in there. I just kind of threw everything together because when I was doing my research, they said, you know, they're terrestrial orchids, so they're not epiphytic like a lot of our Phalaenopsis, Cattleyas, those kind of things. You're not going to see a lot of arrow roots on these guys. The leaf damage that you see right here is from grasshoppers this past spring and summer. I do plan to put her back outside this year in 2022 during the growing season, and I'm going to leave her outside and only bring her in when the temperatures are going to be below freezing for multiple days. But I do want to leave her outside as long as possible next year to help encourage blooms. I have researched that once the spikes start, you can bring them in to enjoy them. They'll continue to grow. But much like our Phalaenopsis that need a temperature drop to kind of trigger that spike growth, these need it as well. From what I've read and seen on YouTube, they need a really good drop. So that is my plan. But I really love her green leaves. Even when I had her outside, I did not get a lot of leaf tip dieback, just this little bit here, because usually they require a little more humidity to keep themselves looking nice and prim and proper. But I guess there was just enough humidity in the air that she didn't suffer too much. She suffered more from the grasshoppers than anything. The way I water her, so I stuck this bamboo skewer in here as I was setting up because I don't know if she needs water or not. I never judge by the top, and I'm a bougie kind of person. I don't like digging my finger in the dirt because I don't like dirt under my nails. So I put a bamboo skewer in, leave it in for a few minutes, and then I just pull it out, and then I fill the bottom, and it's damp. So I know that it needs water because when I say damp, it's almost on the point of being dry. Only sections have some moisture to them. So the way I water her is I just run my tap water through until, please don't drop, please don't drop, please don't drop, until it runs through. Then I let her drain really well till it's a slow drip, and then I run it through again, and I do that about 3 or 4 times. The next time I water her, when I water her with fertilizer, I do use my zero water fertilizer, and she gets anywhere from 300 to 350 parts per million of MSU fertilizer. And every third fertilizing, I will give her anywhere from 250 to 300 parts per million of CalMag. So far, she's done really well. When I got her, she did have quite a few roots on her, and the new growth right here was starting new roots, and so that's when I put her in here. I did set her in the middle of the pot. Again, research that I did before I bought her, actually it was after I bought her, who am I lying? After I bought her kind of indicated that they kind of grow in a circular pattern and that each bulb could possibly give you a new growth. So just to prove that, move that out the way, this growth here came off of this growth right here that is starting to lose its leaves, and that's natural. That's an older bulb. It's one of the oldest bulbs. So this one was the oldest, and she's already lost her leaves. Now this second oldest, and it's been on about 1.5 years, so she is starting to lose her leaves. But again, a lot of her leaves were damaged again from the grasshoppers, and I did cut quite a few of them off. But if you look at the way they fan out, it's absolutely amazing. I love watching it. And then this one here as well, and then this one's a little bit further behind. But again, I just run the water and let it drain. Run the water, and I do that 2 or 3 times just to make sure it gets nice and soaked, and then flush it with the tap water, fertilizer, flush with tap water, fertilizer, and so on. You get the idea. Temperatures in Colorado can, like right now it's 18 degrees outside. Here in January of 2022, we did get a nice snow earlier today, and then it did snow earlier last week, so we are starting to get our snow. And the temperatures can get down to below 0. So I don't trust putting her out now, but next year she'll be able to harden off and kind of get used to the cool as the temperatures continue to drop. If I put her out now with her being used to being inside, I feel like it'll shock her and kind of make her die off a little bit. And don't want that because she looks really, really pretty. But other than that, I can't really say much about what I've done with her so far. She is the only Cymbidium that I have. According to the pictures that I saw, she's supposed to be a red Cymbidium. She does not have a scent from what I've read. You can find some Cymbidiums with scent. Those are more the ones that are primary crosses or the actual species. I would love to have more of these, however, they can get large. She is supposed to be a mini Cymbidium, and you can see she's already rather large, so I'm afraid to get an actual full-size Cymbidium. Now, if I find that she does well outside and I can keep her outside and not have to bring her in too much next year, I may go ahead and get some of the larger ones to leave outside primarily, and then bring them in or put them in the garage like Yoshi did a couple of weeks ago with his Cymbidiums over there in Washington. When the temperatures dropped a little bit too much for them, he kept them in the garage for I think a day or so and then took them back out. I can do that, but having to bring a bunch of plants in every year and try to figure out a space for them, that would just be too much for me. Especially, like I said, I do have some issues with my hands sometimes, so I don't want a chance dropping things. And yes, I know I can help, ask for help, but I'm not a ask for help type of person. So I hope you guys got something out of this. If I touched on something and I just kind of skipped over it, or I started on something and didn't finish my thought, which I'm really good at doing, leave it in the comments down below. I'll be happy to expand on the idea or the thought that I was having. Go check out everyone else's videos. I'm sure there are lots out there. I know Miss Lynn from Lynn Brooks Orchids, I know she knows quite a bit about the Cymbidiums, as does Ed from Ed's Orchids. That's where Ed is actually the one who inspired me to get this one back in 2020, along with my Pathaopedilums. But I'm going to go check out their videos, see what I can learn to improve the care on this one, and possibly, like I said, get the larger ones. Maybe not next year, but the year after I test this one. All right, guys, well, I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Just helps me, doesn't cost you anything. Share it if you want, and we'll see you on the next one.